Okay, our next speaker is Bruce Newport, who heads up the plastics team here in the Southwest on behalf of the Environment Agency. I don't know much about Bruce because my biog is for Emma Howard-Boyd, who can't be here today. All I know about Bruce is he's fantastic and he's stepping in on behalf of Emma. So over to you, Bruce.
Well, thank you, everybody. I'm going to be watching Lucy together, 3, 4, 2, 1, or whatever it might be. So thank you to everybody for allowing me to speak. And I'm sorry that Emma can't be here today. She had trouble with trains over the weekend. So I'm a passionate Cornishman. I work for the Environment Agency. I surf kayak. So for all you surfers, if I've knocked you off your wave, I'm awfully sorry before we meet you over lunch. But here at the Environment Agency, we are passionate about environmental protection and pollution by plastic, and it's something that we are a big part of. We already play a role in managing plastic pollution, for example, by regulating waste management sites, working with water companies, looking at the producer responsibility regulations, and through our monitoring and analysis of soil and water. But now we want to do even more. And earlier this year, I was delighted to have been asked to set up a plastics and sustainability team inside the Environment Agency with the main aim of actually preventing plastic getting into the oceans and to improving our part in that. Got it. So our vision is simple and one that I hope the whole room shares. Together we can make plastic pollution a thing of the past. And without these strong senses of ambition, we cannot provide the type of leadership that we actually need to tackle this global problem. So it's only by working together that we can create strong, powerful stories based on sound science that will ever make the necessary change for future generations and the protection of our oceans. So we have improved our internal processes even more for the environment and from the Environment Agency. And plastic pollution is not only threatening the health of our rivers and our ocean, but it also contributes towards the serious threat of flooding, which is another of the things that we look at. So flooding through the resulting blockages of screens, these are the things where we can protect human life and property, and we need to do so in our daily jobs. So our field teams who manage our flood defences, who you will see out when it's raining and where it's flooding, making sure that our properties are safe, are these days now sweeping through a lot of our flood banks and actually removing plastic safely and taking it back to recovery before they trim our flood banks, before they actually have a chance to smash that plastic up. And this is more that we're doing with our internal process changes. So these slides, taken by our people, show the scale of the problem, both on the Thames estuary and locally here in Devon and Cornwall. We have a long way to go to create change that turns the tide of plastic reaching our oceans. And for our part, we are committed to do what we can to make this happen. So amongst other things, we have submitted our views to the Treasury, a call for evidence on financial incentives to reduce plastic pollution, and we are cracking down on waste crime. What we do know is when plastic waste gets out of the ordinary systems and gets into the criminal world, it ends up in our rivers, on our land, and into our oceans. We also support the circular economy of plastic, and one of the most interesting things that we're looking at the moment is how we can work with plastic and agriculture to create a circular economy and how that can actually prevent even more plastic from flowing from our lands and into our rivers. So the Environment Agency has over 200 people which are nationally on a day-to-day basis monitoring our environment as part of our normal duties. And we're well placed to collect and record a lot of data, using our resources and skills to collect additional information about plastics in the environment makes sense. And this will help us to target where we go in the future. But we also rely on the wealth of data and information collected and held by community groups, NGOs like Surfers Against Sewage and all of their volunteers, and also academics, which is really, really important. So they hold a lot of this information, and that helps to provide motivation through creating positive change, through working with community groups, which is really, really important, maintaining that momentum for us to be able to do our work. What we will also be doing, and we have started this in a big way, is actually producing materials for schools. We believe that actually working with the younger generations, we can begin to change those behaviours, and we have the opportunity to do that. And we have Emma Howard-Boyd, who is a Speaker for Schools initiative speaker, is also encouraging other business leaders to take on that role and champion those ideas. So working with the Surfers Against Sewage and other organisations, we can affect change. This year we held an event in Bude as part of World Oceans Day. This is something that we've not done before. But we brought over 300 school children together, local business leaders, and the water companies. And what we did was we actually put on an event in Bude which reached over 1.7 million people across the media channels, not including social media, I might add. So we believe that we can make a big difference by actually producing these springboards where we, as our part, working with all of you, can make positive change. One of the things that we can do as an organisation and working with all of you is to work with government. And what we have done is we are working with them to strengthen our producer responsibility regulations, which will not only just reduce the amount of plastic which is actually lost to a landfill and the waste system, but also bringing new plastics. And I and my colleagues have worked directly with Michael Gove, and I know with Hugo, who says very often that he meets Teresa Kofi more than his own wife. We can impact change as well, providing support. We're very supportive of the government's 25-year plan, and we believe we can go in even further with their targets for preventing single-use and non-necessary waste by the 2042 deadline. So we in the Environment Agency have a close network of we have a network where we can actually work with MPs right across England. So working with all community groups, we can support them by lifting their messages, and actually where we can is actually presenting them to local MPs and making sure that voices are heard. And this is our part that we can play. So just to finish, we believe that our natural environment is one of the most precious inheritance and one we are committed to protect. And the government have already taken huge steps in actually bringing in the 5p levy, actually banning microbeads in cosmetics. And we want to help go even further with these types of protective measures. And I'm sure it's a joint ambition of all of us to leave the environment in a better place than we found it. And that's a common theme that we've all heard today. And this is at the heart of what we do. And this is why we are here today, and we want to continue to make these types of events possible. Thank you.